Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining today's webinar. We have a diverse turnout today with audiences across multiple countries, and we are looking forward to presenting to you a webinar designed to answer your F&B questions. My name is Kiana Jammy, Marketing Specialist at ERP Buddies, an Oracle NetSuite solution provider headquartered in Toronto, Canada. ERP Buddies is focused on NetSuite implementations for a wide array of industries. NetSuite is the world's leading provider of cloud-based business management software that helps businesses streamline operations and finances while synchronizing departments. NetSuite handles all business aspects and is tailored to meet industry-specific needs like the food and beverage through a fully customizable ERP system that is designed to scale as your business grows. Over the next hour, we will be focusing on NetSuite ERP for food and beverage manufacturers and wholesale distributors, and why it is greatly beneficial to the F&B vertical. We will be hearing from Richard Dipp, who will be introducing NetSuite along with the technical aspects, followed by Rob Welk, who will speak on the functional aspects. And then afterward, we will be introducing our guest speaker to discuss their NetSuite implementation for the company in the food and beverage industry. If you have any questions during the webinar, please type them in the question box, and our speakers will answer them at the end of the presentation. In just a moment, we will be joined by Richard Dipp, Application Development Manager with ERP Buddies, who will explain the depths of NetSuite's customization tools and integrations, and the different aspects in which NetSuite can add agility to your F&B business. His 10 years of experience in application development is integral in formulating all-around NetSuite solutions for clients and businesses. Welcome, Richard.
Thank you so much for that lovely introduction. As Kiana mentioned, my name is Richard Dipp, Manager of Application Development at ERP Buddies. I'm here to talk about NetSuite customizations and how these customizations look like during a NetSuite implementation. For brand new businesses to NetSuite, there is an implementation methodology introduced in 2017 called SuiteSuccess. This approach uses a template-based implementation which can configure your NetSuite account seamlessly based on your industry. Now, how does this differ from the traditional implementation? The traditional method means that technical and functional consultants would need to set up and build your account from the ground up. SuiteSuccess means you can install a bundle that comes with pre-configured setup with custom reports, forms, and processes. I mentioned SuiteSuccess because it can and has been used to implement the food and beverage industry. With this method of implementing your business to NetSuite, existing customers have seen an 18% drop in the cost associated with implementation and almost a 60% reduction in time spent on setup and configuration. This allows your implementation to go live within 100 days. Keep SuiteSuccess in mind because if it fits your business, it would mean time saved, money saved, and a job done timely. Knowing about SuiteSuccess enables you to know your options and which implementation route you wish to take. So what does this mean? It means that you have a system that is easy to implement and also easy to use. What NetSuite offers right out of the box is its intuitive and user-friendly interface. Navigation is easy, and each user has their own customizable dashboard to show exactly what they need. Things like operational roles. They would like to review inventory stock reports. Financial roles would like to see customized AP or AR aging reports. And senior executives would love to see their revenues, COGS, gross profits, and visually appealing infographics. This is where the traditional ERP system would look primitive. And just by looking at this screenshot, I would be completely lost as a new user. How do I even know where to go? How do I even look for help? This is why NetSuite is the ERP system for the modern day business. The user face is laid out in an easy to read and navigate style. Global searching lets you go directly to the records you need, and there are help links readily available on each page, directing you to the current records documentation. This dashboard can be personalized and customized to your heart's content. With NetSuite, the platform you have chosen is highly customizable to your business needs, either company processes as a whole or even just user-specific personalizations. So I can't speak enough about NetSuite customizations. It's completely in my wheelhouse, and it's really hard not to get excited about it. NetSuite out of the box offers a wide variety of standard features. Think of it as a blank canvas that lets you do the essentials for your business process. However, With the food and beverage business, you would need to carry these entry forms to include data fields like order weights, volumes for distribution, bill of lading information, shipping method, if it's delivery or customer pickup. This is where NetSuite can shine for your business. The standard form is completely bare. You can look by the screenshot here. Customizing each form to include what is critical to your business makes it easier for your end users to complete their entries. We don't see things like shipping methods here. If there's a customer service agent attached, requested and expected delivery dates based on this shipping schedule. Whatever your business needs to see here, we can easily customize this form. So now we see how we can customize forms for the standard NetSuite records. What happens if you have a homegrown legacy system with unique records that doesn't exist in NetSuite? NetSuite has a very robust and scalable platform that allows you to create custom records. At times, we see clients use their own custom ERP system they've built themselves, and there are times where we see they have unique records to their business. NetSuite allows you to easily create these records and customize the form like we mentioned above, and build any relationships from this record to any standard records. As an example, one of our clients has custom contracts linked to SKUs. It's a one-to-many relationship, and the contract has information like sales rep, prices, contract expiration dates. We can make this custom record to store each of the contract information, and then the end users can tie this to the SKU on a sales or purchase order. Now, from a reporting standpoint, you can now search orders and SKUs based on contracts. Users from all departments, sales, purchasing, and even accounting, based on this one custom record, can see their orders better categorized and classified. These custom records are still exposed for permission editing, and NetSuite has a great approach for customizing your business roles to decide what responsibilities and areas of NetSuite they need access to. One thing is certain with businesses big or small, NetSuite roles will allow your employees to best access and navigate your ERP system. The idea of roles in NetSuite is all about permissions. Does your sales rep need access to bank payments? Do your plant managers need access to gross sales? The answer should be no. And this is where we can customize your business roles with what they need and are responsible for. It is also especially true when there are implementations of smaller businesses where we actually see one person is responsible for more than what one NetSuite standard role would permit. We discover these roles and responsibilities each department and their manager would require, and we look to customizing this role so they can use it. Now, after setting up the standard roles, the next part of the implementation is to look at customizing your transactional printed PDFs. We'll look at the power of NetSuite PDF customization tools available. One of the most invaluable tools NetSuite has to offer is the ability to customize your printed PDFs. Your sales orders, purchase orders, bill of ladings, invoices, and bills, these can all be customized. Now, while there is an area where you can write code and customize your PDFs, if you don't come from a technical background, NetSuite still offers a very easy way to customize this. In NetSuite, we call this mode WYSIWYG. What you see is what you get. And it's a convenient way for non-technical users to make changes without enlisting the help of a NetSuite technical consultant. The takeaway is this. The true power of this feature lets NetSuite emulate the PDFs from your legacy system if you don't want to change them. On the flip side, if you're looking to make a change, it's completely possible to customize and create modern, stylish PDFs that best reflects your business image. So for this presentation, I wanted to show everyone here a real-life example of what a poorly customized NetSuite account looks like. Now, before you ask, I already know what you're thinking. Yes, I still watch Toy Story. So let's actually look at what a properly configured and customized NetSuite account looks like. Wow. This is one happy-looking NetSuite account. Now, before I go on, you're probably thinking, there's no way Richard will use another Toy Story image. Anyways, now that we've covered some of the basic customizations, the next part of the implementation is to talk about data migration. Data is precious, and data integrity is the name of the game. NetSuite is an ERP system first, but its functionalities are all-encompassing. What we see from the food and beverage customers using NetSuite is that it's great for inventory management, manufacturing, and order processing, in addition to its financial reporting. This is all data and data that needs to be preserved. Across the board is the same in this vertical. Data migration from your legacy system into NetSuite will allow you to conduct your business from a single system. NetSuite can import your fixed assets, routings, bill of materials, and all SKUs from finished goods to WIPs or raw materials. Customers new to NetSuite in the food and beverage all ask the same questions. How do we do it efficiently to preserve your invaluable data? Triple checking is the best practice to maintaining your data. We extract and we check. We map to NetSuite and we do a check. We import into NetSuite and then we check. We extract the data from your legacy system, and with the help of a subject matter expert, SME, we'll validate and sign off that all relevant data has been successfully extracted. We clean your data and map it to NetSuite. The data we scrub and map to NetSuite is a CSV file, the format that NetSuite lets us to use to import the data. SME checks this once more to make sure we captured the must-haves and the nice-to-haves, and also approves of discarding any irrelevant data. Now, then we import the data into NetSuite and we run a report against it. There's a final check by the SME and sign off confirming the data migration for that data set has been complete. For example, a client buys and sells beverages. We identify their SKUs and we ignore all discontinued items. We extract the item table and have their SME validate we didn't lose anything during extraction. This can typically happen during report filtering, whether or not they're discontinued items or even if there's any transactions against that SKU within 1 or 3 years. We'll then clean the file and map it to NetSuite by our technical team. We'll do one check again. We do the import file into NetSuite and get a final check by the SME. So now data migration is one part, migration of your master data and open transactions. What about historical closed transactions? You're probably thinking, it's in the past, it's history. Wrong. It's still valuable data for your business. Now, when NetSuite customers enter the system, there's always this discussion. Do we keep or discard any historical transactions? In the world of data, historical transactions in an ERP system is a great way to review or forecast your business. NetSuite reporting, forecasting, and demand planning helps your food and beverage business plan for the future. Preparing for an influx of sales like seasonal foods, pumpkin pies or cakes, or just reviewing your year-over-year growth. NetSuite can still provide the best reporting for your business with the help of historical transactions. What this means is loading historical transactions is just as easy as loading the master data and open transactions. We follow the same triple checking process and ensure your historical data is loaded correctly and accurately. So we take care of the data migration aspect of an implementation, and the next parallel activity is setting up and configuring automation within your NetSuite account. What are some of the ways we can do this as a technical user and non-technical one? I want to introduce you guys to SuiteFlow. It's a simple way through the user interface to configure the automation of your business process flows. SuiteFlows allows your users and technical team alike to set up automation within your system. This feature is great for the food and beverage business because it handles order processing, notifications to departments or managers, and approval workflows. With SuiteFlow, users with a little bit of knowledge can set up automation just using a simple user interface. And they can test this without affecting the business, meaning when they want to test an approval workflow, for an example, when a PO is created, it will only be triggered when that specific user creates a PO and not when your purchasing department conducts their day-to-day responsibilities. And when this process has been vetted by the development managers, it can be released into production for your business to use. Now, there are limitations with SuiteFlows. Namely, it's good for simple processes. When the process flows are identified to be overly complex, and we find that SuiteFlow's level of effort becomes too great, this is where SuiteScript shines. So NetSuite SuiteScript allows technical users to develop and write code to deploy to your system. My application development team, we can customize your system to do anything SuiteFlows can do and still manipulate all NetSuite records and forms to cater to your needs. For example, we had one client request that asked us to determine the number of pallets that would be needed for each sales order to best plan their truck for delivery. People familiar with the food and beverage industry knows that sales orders aren't really limited to 1 or 2 SKUs per order. Sometimes there are 10 or 20 SKUs with differing sizes, and it becomes very difficult to calculate manually. So what we did was we wrote a script to check each SKU based on dimension and the number of pallets needed for each SKU, and calculated this into one number to reference on the sales order. Now your sales order team and operations department has one number for reference. With the implementation, it's not done yet, and we still need to discuss one part of setting up automation, and it's called electronic data interchange. Without EDI, we know this process all too well. A customer places a food or beverage order via phone or email. Your sales rep enters it into your ERP system, and then notify the customer that the order has been placed. Your business would then need to notify your warehouse that an order has been firmed. And then your warehouse, once the order has been fulfilled, would need to notify you back so you can invoice your customer. And that is just one order. EDI would remove any need for manual intervention and any potential for human error. NetSuite can be integrated with EDI to truly perform all business needed and increase the throughput of orders your business can process. If one sales rep can only process 20 manual orders per day, EDI would automate this process, and you can expect up to 200 orders at the same time and minimizing the need for manual intervention. This platform has still continued to be the best ERP platform for EDI connections. EDI typically uses middleware, software that connects two systems like Dell Boomi, Celigo, SPS Commerce in this industry. But NetSuite still has a very robust system that allows scripting to conduct EDI orders without the help of middleware. So I say this to say, while you can enlist the help of middleware to connect your customers and warehouses to NetSuite, you can still very well utilize SuiteScript to fulfill the EDI connections without them. The choice is ultimately yours. That about sums up the customizations you'll see during your NetSuite implementation, and I hope this was very helpful to you all. I would suggest you guys save some of your questions for the Q&A session we have at the end, and we'll look to answer them at the end of the webinar. Now I'll pass it back to Kiana. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Richard, for providing insightful information about the technical aspects of NetSuite. The out-of-box customization and electronic data interchange factors are very crucial for the food and beverage manufacturers and distributors. Now to speak about the functional aspects, which include but are not limited to demand planning, accounting, inventory management, and modes of manufacturing of NetSuite, we will be joined by Rob Welk. With 15 years of experience in NetSuite and cloud ERP systems, Rob's extensive knowledge suite has helped countless of businesses achieve their potential with NetSuite ERP. Now, without further ado, we will turn the time over to Rob Welk.
All right, thank you very much for the introduction. As mentioned, my name is Rob Welk. I'm a senior project manager with ERP Buddies. I'll be talking to you today about manufacturing in NetSuite, more specifically to the food and beverage vertical, but you will hear much of what I say will apply to any type of manufacturer, warehouse, co-packer, or 3PL distribution centers. To give a bit of background, I've been working with NetSuite ERP, and I've been in consulting and managing projects for NetSuite as well as other ERP, WMS, and other business systems for over 15 years. I've had the pleasure of working with over 100 companies, helping them through their implementation and optimization of NetSuite, learning many of the industry standards and great ways every company finds unique ways to run their business. In my experience, I've worked with many ERP systems and have found NetSuite to be the most versatile and effective system to use for food and beverage companies, as well as many other verticals. And for its cost, hands down, is the best for any company, whether they're a startup, mid-market, or large enterprise. NetSuite's main benefit to food and beverage companies is its ability to tie operations and costs together and elevate their business processes from many manual standalone systems to having all processes and all data within NetSuite. I'll start off today by going through some of the features of NetSuite that are most important to food and beverage producers. One of the main problems companies face when not using an ERP system that has manufacturing capabilities, or when they're using a standalone manufacturing software that is not integrated with their ERP, is that their data and reports are outdated and inaccurate data with a lot of wasted time with dual entry. So to start off, I'm going to talk about what a work order does. For those who aren't familiar with the terminology, a work order allows manufacturers to plan and track the goods they manufacture, track their component usage, waste, and overhead. It also allows a company to plan their production accordingly. In addition to this, it gives their accounting department real-time insight into costs. And you do have the option to select components used and lot numbers live as production is happening, as well as an option for automatic back flushing for scenarios if that process is more efficient for any company. Unlike many other ERP softwares that allow manufacturing, NetSuite does allow for production planning and scheduling in a very friendly format without the need to buy a third-party product in order to do this. Sometimes what we see is they already have a scheduling planning software, and at first clients can be very hesitant to switch to NetSuite in order to do this because they may have been doing it for so long. But once our team properly walks them through the process, they're quite happy to make the change. It also allows for producing finished goods without a work order, doing an assembly build. This is very useful sometimes, preventing unnecessary work and paperwork for companies that do not require the use of planning or printing out work orders, as some clients just need the ability to build finished goods ad hoc and want a way to update their inventory. To alleviate any concerns, there are different modes of manufacturing supported in NetSuite, and that's batch and discrete manufacturing. So regardless of how you manufacture, whether it's in batches like recipes for batter or icing, or discrete manufacturing such as producing something like a bicycle, NetSuite can support your process with standard functionality. And unlike some systems which are limited to a specific mode, here you're able to do a mix as well. Now that I've discussed basic work orders, the main function of the work order is to create a finished or semi-finished product that is being manufactured. To those not familiar with NetSuite terminology, we refer to a finished or semi-finished manufactured good as an assembly item. The problem this solves is during turning one product into another while consuming its components at the same time. The first point I'd like to mention about assembly items is that these can include finished products that are sold to a customer or semi-finished products that are part of a bigger finished good. The best example of this for food and beverage might be if you're selling a cake, there are multiple parts to this finished product. First, you would need to make the batter, which would be an assembly item. Then that batter would be part of another assembly item, which would be the cake, and eventually turn into the end product that would be sold to the customer. So the batter itself is a semi-finished product, but the cake being sold is a finished product. The assembly item is where you would define what the bill of materials would be and how you want to account for the components used, prices to sell it for, things along this nature. So there are different ways to use an assembly item as well. If you have a configurable product that you're selling with different features and options to enable, that's another use of an assembly item. NetSuite supports lot numbering and serialization for full traceability of finished goods and raw materials. And you'll find that a lot of companies moving on to NetSuite, one of the main purposes of them doing that is because they have a requirement to do full traceability and they just don't currently have it. So now that you understand what an assembly item is, we should talk about the heart of the work order in assemblies, which is the bill of material, also known as a BOM. There are many ways companies currently track bill of materials. Many are tracked in Excel, maybe one item on each tab with the bill of materials, and may or may not exist in their ERP and most likely are outdated. And they're not synced between their ERP and manufacturing software. So this obviously leaves very big gaps. What I've found is it's actually very rare for a company to migrate to NetSuite and be happy with their current bill of materials prior to import. I don't think I've actually ever seen it. They always want to clean it up, change the inaccuracies, and maybe change the units of measure. This is due to them not being able to drill down into the bill of materials in their previous system, so they do not know how much is needed to make a single finished product. Therefore, they do not even know an accurate cost of their finished goods they sell. NetSuite has a lot of flexibility in the ways to handle bill of materials, including levels such as single level or multi-level. Some refer to single level as flattened bombs. And you can also produce in different units of measure than you produce or stock in. Clients can set up single level flattened bombs or complex multi-level bombs. And the bombs also allow you to track component yield to give insight into understanding waste used during manufacturing. If work orders should be auto-created based off certain criteria or certain items are included on a sales order, NetSuite allows for auto-creation of work orders for production planning. The main focus we have when helping clients design their bombs are to gain accuracy into what should be used versus what is being used. And NetSuite allows them to also ensure enough material is in stock to allow work orders to be completed or allow simple processes of ordering the goods to ensure they arrive on time prior to a production start date.
Thank you, Rob, for breaking down the bill of materials. Now moving on, let's discuss the next level that NetSuite offers for production.
Okay, thank you very much. There are different types of packages, as you mentioned, in NetSuite for production. The first level is what we just discussed with work orders and assemblies. The next level NetSuite offers is referred to as WIP and routing. Many systems do not provide this level of manufacturing, so NetSuite solves this by giving further insight into the operations taking place in order to produce a finished good. For anyone on the call unfamiliar with this terminology, WIP is work in process. It's goods you are producing that may not make their way to the consumer that will be used in further production down the road, or just have not made their way to the consumer and are sitting in the warehouse. This can include things like dough, batter, icing, and things along this nature. NetSuite uses WIP accounting to issue inventory to the proper WIP accounts. This has huge benefit for food and beverage manufacturers who are continuously producing WIP products and need to know the costs and inventory valuations of these items for production planning and reporting. Routing is referred to manufacturing routes that an item follows in order to become a finished good. For example, when batter is produced, it may go down to a certain oven. That oven may have certain costs to use that oven versus using a different line and go down that production line. Once done in the oven, there would be another task to go cool down or possibly be packaged for sale to the customer. NetSuite provides accurate costing using manufacturing cost templates to certain production lines and operations for direct and indirect costs. Production lines in NetSuite are known as work centers. And what work center management does, it provides options to manufacture different ways in different locations or in different manufacturing lines, with cost accountants being able to proper fixed, variable, and labor rates to different parts of the manufacturing process. Tracking operations with tasks within work orders in NetSuite gives companies ways to track costs much more accurately than ever before, as well much more efficiently by saving many hours of trying to apply and estimate costs. Another great feature is a drag and drop scheduler to move production orders between lines or at different times as the capacity allows for. And the final benefit of this next level manufacturing is the ability to issue components to a work order, which allows real-time insight into the inventory levels and what is being used at production, along with work order completions and closing to finalize a work order and generate GL impacts for the accountants to see how much was used or wasted and in creating the inventory immediately as completions are processed. And the last level of manufacturing of NetSuite is the most advanced, and the name explains that. It's called advanced manufacturing. It includes all the features of work orders and assemblies, as well as WIP and routing, plus it has numerous other additional features. Some of these features include downtime and material loss reasons to help track when production is down and why, and what may have caused any material loss during production. There is also a very nice feature known as the material workbench. What this does is it ties all the different pieces of manufacturing together in one record. including routings, work centers, assembly items, BOMs, standard production rates, labor rates, machine setup times, lag times when switching between operation tasks. And for batches, you can set minimums and maximums with incremental quantities. You can also set work order instructions to print within the work orders. So this obviously ties a lot of information together, and it really helps people understand what's being done and how much everything costs to manufacture in each place that you could manufacture it. The work order instructions I mentioned print along with something known as a work traveler to help everyone on the floor know needs to know what needs to be manufactured and how to do it. This avoids having to post up instructions and tell people how to do things. It doesn't require people to remember it. You can print it out with the work order so they can always refer to how much ingredients should go in each batch, how long it should be in the oven, things along that nature that are not part of the bill of material. Advanced manufacturing also includes quality inspection features to allow QA departments to document their processes within NetSuite. Advanced manufacturing is also very tablet and scanner friendly and easy to use on handheld devices. Capacity planning is another great feature of this bundle. What capacity planning is it's looking at all your different production lines and ensuring that you're creating plans per location and running within your capacity. There's also another feature called finite scheduling that allows production planners to schedule their work orders when they want and in the order they want, and release them to the shop floor in a process that works best for the company. There are many built-in reports that include manufacturing reports, planning reports, quality inspection reports, and these built-in reports save many hours during the implementation and give companies insight that they may not have even thought of having prior to the implementation. One last feature I'll discuss is the ability to track outgoing shipments to produce your pick lists, picking from multiple sales orders in order to fill a truck or container. You can generate ASN numbers that can be sent through EDI to your distribution centers in order for them to understand what will arrive and when. Or if you do not have EDI, we can set up some other way to send the ASN numbers to your distribution centers. This feature could be used more than just manufacturers. The feature has been rolled out as part of advanced manufacturing and may find its way into other bundles down the road. Honestly, there are so many features to the advanced manufacturing that most companies take quite a while to be able to take advantage of them all, as no other ERP system offers this many features, so it is not like they were doing it all previously. Our team at ERP Buddies will work with you and help you understand what's needed for the go live and what we may put into a phase 2 down the road, depending on where your company is in the process. Some might have been using some of these features in different systems, but to have everything happening in the ERP system is very impressive. And as you get more comfortable with NetSuite, you can begin to take advantage of all the features I've mentioned.
Thank you, Rob, for going into depths of the various features NetSuite has to offer. There are many benefits NetSuite has to offer for managing inventory. I'm going to now turn it over to you once again to discuss these benefits.
Okay, thank you again. So now we have discussed the features and benefits of manufacturing in NetSuite. So it's important to understand that there are many benefits of using NetSuite to manage your inventory, not just from a manufacturing perspective, but if you do manufacturing, the benefits are extremely noticeable and can save an incredible amount of time by avoiding many manual processes manufacturing facilities currently use. And what I'm referring to here is inventory management within NetSuite. To start off, I'll be discussing demand planning and supply planning within NetSuite. There are multiple ways to do demand planning. You can do this through historical orders, forecasting, manual import, or whatever works best for your company in a very user-friendly format. As far as supply planning goes, this is an incredible feature I've seen saving over 200 hours in a month by saving time and automating purchase orders, transfer orders, and work orders after looking at your demand and supply plan, its current inventory stock, including stock at multiple locations to determine if you have stock at other locations prior to creating a purchase order, as well as other parameters. Lead times, minimum order quantities, safety preferred stock levels, as well as other parameters and processes to define order quantities are all able to be set not only at the item level, but location-specific settings. NetSuite allows for different supply planning methods, including using reorder points or time phase based off demand to allow planning supply of different items with different methods. I could probably go on about inventory management and the benefits for a while, but at this time, I'd like to move on to a very important and exciting improvement NetSuite provides and supports. What I'm going to talk about can save companies tens of thousands of dollars per year. In some situations, can provide savings of hundreds of thousands of dollars, not just for software, but also for integrations. And what I'm talking about here is the NetSuite WMS. It is new and improved and will make your life much easier. First off, NetSuite WMS is cloud-based, just like NetSuite. It's supported by almost any handheld device acceptable by any other WMS software. So the most popular and most functional handhelds are able to be used with NetSuite. There will be URLs specifically assigned to your company. And then there are additional security settings that are role specific and location specific. So that should not cause any concern. You can connect your printers, print labels, make custom functions, whatever is required to help your company move off any previously used WMS software. Some WMS software I've seen can cost between $15,000 and $500,000 just to implement, along with up to 20% annual support fees and recurring fees. This is not necessary, and with the option of using NetSuite WMS to replace those, there is no reason to not use the NetSuite WMS on your handheld devices. I can't even count the number of times clients have a third-party WMS software. The integration breaks down and causes production to come to a standstill. We start seeing the blame game where they call the WMS application and they say it's NetSuite, and you call NetSuite and they say it's the WMS application. But that stops here by using NetSuite WMS because there is no integration required, and the data feeds directly into NetSuite. So you're not worried about production being down or losing data in the integration. Some of the most common WMS functions NetSuite supports are pick, packing, shipping, moving bins, moving inventory, transferring inventory to different locations, as well as receiving. Again, it's very easy to use. It has a high speed, and you don't have to worry about dropped integrations. And accuracy is 100%, as it is all there in one database. So that is probably enough about the NetSuite WMS. It is moving in a direction I'm very excited about, and in the next few years will get even better and better. It can eliminate the need for third-party systems and integrations and can save companies, as I mentioned, a lot of money, avoiding integrations, implementation fees, licensing costs, and support fees that are very high and unnecessary. So now I'll talk about the benefits to the accounting and financing departments with some of the features I talked about above. So everything listed above that we discussed explains how it helps accounting at manufacturing facilities. This is the reason in the end that clients choose NetSuite, as it really helps them understand the cost better and allows the flexibility of different companies to process their manufacturing the way they need to. It also provides full lot traceability, which allows food and beverage manufacturers to be compliant with regulations they need to follow. Standard costing is also a feature that NetSuite supports that many manufacturing companies use. This allows cost accountants to get the figures they need to track manufacturing costs more accurately than ever and track variances for reporting. One thing I did not mention yet, which my colleague Richard discussed earlier in the webinar, is that NetSuite is available out of the box standard, but there is an amazing package available known as SuiteSuccess. I've been doing implementations for a long time, and the amount of time saved by using industry standard roles, reporting, and dashboards saves an immense amount of time during the implementation. It provides pre-built industry standard configuration, uh, but I highly recommend considering a SuiteSuccess package when choosing NetSuite, as it can allow projects to go live within 100 days by using the pre-configured system. That wraps up my part of the webinar. I hope my portion of the webinar was insightful. And if you have any questions, feel free to type them in the question box and we'd be happy to discuss further.
Thank you, Rob. Now, in just a moment, we will be joined by Eli Margene, Director of Operations at Tutti Gourmet. During this portion of the webinar, we will learn as to why Tutti Gourmet chose NetSuite as their business management system and what benefits they foresee through an ERP implementation. Just to provide a brief overview, Tutti Gourmet is a family business located in the town of Hudson, Quebec, producing healthy gourmet snacks for every age, dietary restriction, and taste bud. Beginning in 1999, the business has developed a strong following since and has strived to continuously think outside of the box so that their customers can continue to discover all the good things that food has to offer. In 2014, the business received an investment for their pitch from Dragon's Den, showcasing the true quality of their products. We are pleased to introduce our guest speaker, Eli Margene.
Thank you for that introduction, Kiana. As mentioned, my name's Eli Margene. I'm the operations director / quality assurance coordinator / IT and anything else that that needs to be done at this business. I've been here for about 3 years, and as Kiana mentioned, we are a snack manufacturing company. So our facility is dedicated gluten-free, and we manufacture a wide variety of snacks under our own brand, Tutti, and then we also do a lot of private label and co-packing contracts as well, because we're in a unique position of actually having a dedicated gluten-free facility, as well as one line is completely allergen-free. So that's kind of our focus. As far as just to give you a little bit of background how we came to NetSuite, our business has been rapidly growing since I've been here. I started, like I said, about 3 years ago. When I first started, we were just using traditional accounting software plus Excel sheets, basically to manage everything. So the accounting software did all the financial stuff, the POs and the sales orders, and everything else was just done in spreadsheets with Excel, with as far as traceability and then everything else that needed to be done. As I can sure you would guess, it was not the most efficient system. Our WMS system was paper-based for the most part. And one of my tasks when I first got on as an operations-focused task was to try to create tools to allow the business to become more efficient and to grow. So I automated a lot of the Excel stuff, and I used an in-house platform to create some tools that would allow order processing and the warehouse to kind of actually talk to each other. And that worked out great for a while. Then 2 years later, so a year ago, we had a tremendous influx in growth, and it soon became clear that our current system was no longer tenable. That at a certain point in time, that the amount of time that it would take to process one order or to do one pick and pack was very, very inefficient. And so we knew, if it's taking us X amount of time to process, say, 20 orders a week, what happens when we go to 40? We could just tell that we needed to do something. So my task was to look into different ERP systems. And I can tell you that I looked into nearly everything. We looked into more open source that I would manage myself. We looked into all the big players and the names. And I really quickly realized that one of our challenges was going to be customization and integration. So a lot of the tools that I created are QMS based as well as WMS based. And I wanted something that would ideally incorporate some of these tools. And then if it did it better, great. Then I would use whatever functionality our chosen ERP had out of the box. Um, so I knew what I wanted, and I started also looking into implementation teams. I believe in it was actually kind of serendipitous, but back in earlier this year, I was actually contacted from ERP Buddies because they heard about our Dragon's Den promotion. I mean, our Dragon's Den appearance that we did a few years back. And I talked with them, and they knew exactly what I was talking about as far as the integration. We talked about the customization. All of that stuff wouldn't be an issue. So right off the bat, they also were willing to help me with, we're using different government programs to fund the ERP itself, and they were very accommodating as far as how those programs can be crafted for our scope of work and everything like that. So we're going through the implementation process right now. It's been very, very good. One good thing about the implementation process is that you learn a lot about your business as far as how it works and all the inefficiencies, and then given the chance to kind of dissect it. Um, so from there now, our focus is with the integration, and then moving ahead, we hope to be live probably towards the end of this year. So roughly from start to finish will be about 90 days or so. Excuse me, I'm just looking at my notes. One of our most important functions when we were looking for an ERP was, like I said, was flexibility. I really wanted a system that we wouldn't have to work around the system, that the system could kind of adapt to us. Because as food manufacturers, we have some unique prerequisites that we require compared to other ERP type systems. And it's kind of fitting like I didn't want to fit a square peg into a round hole. I wanted something that would we could customize, and that would also grow with us as we continue to grow. And this fast-paced growth has been great, but it's been it's been a bit of a challenge as well. And so that was really our rationale behind choosing NetSuite. The functionality that it had, the customization, the ease in which it could incorporate the different integrations that we were looking at, yeah, and that's pretty much it. At this point, like I said, we're getting very close to starting the initial process of going live, and everybody is really excited. We're a small business, just to put it in perspective. We have about 25 employees. Five or six of those, oh no, now maybe seven. So like around half a dozen of those employees are considered admin or management. So we're on a very, very small scale. However, like I said, we are planning within the last year, we grew about 300%. So we're hoping that we're going to stay on that track, and that we're confident that NetSuite and ERP Buddies can definitely support us in that growth. It's a good problem, to have, but it's still, I have heard stories that if you grow too fast and if you don't have the right tools, then it can create a lot of problems. So we're trying to avoid that. We're being proactive, and like I said, I didn't want to choose a system and then in a couple years that we'd have to reevaluate to see if it can meet our needs. We know that NetSuite will be able to scale with us. And the other thing was just to real quickly mention about the customization. Because we do a lot of private label and we do co-packing, those are unique requirements too. So I knew that going into it, I would need a system that could help us fulfill those some of those unique requirements, whether it's QMS related or financial, because sometimes for build of materials, for example, if a private label may send you one ingredient but not another, and a co-packer, you may have equipment that is dedicated to a certain line from the co-packer, and then how do you work those into depreciation numbers in the financial situation? And then with our old accounting software, that was it was very, very cumbersome. The last thing also that I just thought of is that the owner of the company, the CEO, he's very, he wants, at the end of the day, he wants a report, right? He just wants to know what happened for the end of the day, what were our numbers, what were the problems, what were the issues. And NetSuite has a very robust reporting feature. And regardless of my technical background, I'm confident with the tools that Rob's described, that the rest of my team is going to be able to get him the reports that he needs very quickly. Whereas now, because our in-house platform, I manage it. I'm the one that has to, if somebody needs a report, I have to make the template. There's scripting in the template that I have to execute. It's a lot that falls on me. And like I said, we wear a lot of hats in this company. I'm operations, I'm IT, I'm also the quality assurance coordinator. So having a system that I don't have to be directly involved in every single day, if somebody needs something, is a huge advantage to me as far as my job is concerned, because I don't have to. If somebody says I need X, Y, or Z, I'm hoping that they can they can do it themselves, right? And NetSuite looks like it can do that. It has a lot of tools, customer service. It has all the help features within the browser, and the reporting functionality itself is very easy to use. And then obviously I can still, if I want to create something, I still have the opportunity to do that with the NetSuite scripting functionality. So having both sides of that coin, something that's easy for the end users, but then still gives me the flexibility to kind of stretch my coding and scripting and IT muscles, is something that I want, because I enjoy that part of my job. It's just under our old system, that part of my job is kind of getting out of control. So NetSuite is also going to allow me to do more of focus on other things that I need to focus on as well. And I think I've gone over everything that I've wanted to say. So I'm going to hand it back to Kiana, and if anybody has any specific questions about the implementation process, or how we plan on using NetSuite or working with ERP Buddies in general, I'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you, Eli, for taking the time to speak with our audience about Tutti Gourmet's NetSuite ERP implementation and the various benefits and acceleration that the company foresees through implementing an ERP system. We will now use this time to review and answer NetSuite and F&B related questions. So please be sure to type your questions into the question box. Okay, so beginning with the first question. First question is, I'm in the restaurant business and we track how much waste per item per week. Can NetSuite do this?
Yeah, this is Richard again. So the question I would have back to this request is, are you just looking to track how much inventory you're throwing out, or are you looking to track reason as well? If you're actually looking to tack on a little bit more other than just the inventory and weight, you actually would just create a custom record against this and then link it to the SKU. So there'd be a custom record, and we customize the form with a number of fields. So again, what is the linked SKU, the reasons, the amount, and because it's linked from the relationship of the item that you have stored in NetSuite, now we can generate a report. So you can customize the report to schedule and send out to whoever you need. at the end of the week, and now you'll have an accurate report as far as what's been disposed of and wasted for each item.
So the next question is, if I start off using the basic work order and assembly model, is it easy to add on whip and routing down the road?
I can answer that one. So yeah, many companies choose to actually start out with just work orders and assemblies, and as they're more familiar with the software, roll into whip and routing. It can also go the other way, where you start off with whip and routing, and then you realize there's now that everything's more synced and people have a better control of what they're doing. They start looking into advanced manufacturing to kind of take their system setup to that next level. So it's definitely possible, and it's usually the better way to go about things.
So the next question is, once my bill of materials have been entered, is there any way to change the structure or make a revision to a bill of material?
Okay, it's Rob again. I can answer that one. So once you've created your bill of materials, it is easily editable. You can change from flattened bombs to multi-level bombs. You can edit quantities of what's being consumed. You can edit unit of measures. It's easy to add new material. If you say run out of granulated sugar and you need to switch to liquid sugar, you can adjust the bomb on the spot to switch out for the new ingredient you're going to use. And as far as revisions, you can use revisions as well. So instead of making changes to older bombs, as you progress and you may buy a new material or have a different ingredient that you're going to add, you can create revisions to track when bombs were changed and set effective dates for when they're going to come into use.
Will an assembly item costing take into account the cost of the component of the BOM in addition to overhead costs?
Yeah, so that's a good question. You definitely can take into account not only the cost from the bill of materials, as well as the cost of any labor or fixed overhead or variable overhead. And you can roll those costs up into the cost of the assembly. So when you're looking at your cost as you send out your finished good, you would know what the bottom line cost was from everything to do with the landed cost to receive the raw material, the cost of the raw material, any labor or overhead costs that went into the production of the finished good. All these costs would become part of the costing of the assembly item, and will give you exact cost of what it costs to produce each finished good.
And that will be wrapping up all our questions for today. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Following the webinar, you will receive a thank you email along with a link to the webinar recap. To receive a 14-day free trial of NetSuite, please respond with your name and company name, and our NetSuite account executives will contact you within 24 hours with the following steps. Please be sure to visit erpbuddies.com to learn more about NetSuite ERP implementations and the ways in which it can accelerate all areas of your F&B business. Thank you again, everyone, for joining us, and thank you to our speakers for taking the time out of their schedules to speak with us today. We will be sharing future webinars details through our social media, so please be sure to stay connected, and we hope to see you at our next webinar.